Welcome back to You Sure Talk A Lot. I forget the name of the channel. I'll figure it out and mention it here before I wrap up this video. But I've been watching a YouTube channel by a young woman who just does sort of reaction style videos. But she watches, a broad spectrum of videos, and it's just her watching the video and in real time giving commentary on the video, from sports to politics to science to documentaries to humor to cringe videos. And I really like that format. One, she's interesting because she's very intelligent and literary, and she often gives book references, and for being so young, she's read a lot of good stuff and watched a lot of good stuff. And it's amazing how much, I've read that she has too, even though I've got 25 years on her. And a lot of the videos that she reviews, I've already seen and reacted to, especially the ones that are more science, engineering, things that teach you. She watches a lot of those too. And I've just remarked that the reason I watch her channel is because I like her style and I like what she has to say. And she admits, this is a good quality, she admits when she can't remember something or doesn't know something. Instead of just trying to bullshit about it, she'll just say, I'll link to it below, or edit it in, or something like that. So I'm going to start doing that. So that's kind of what this video is. Although I'm not doing a real-time reaction to a YouTube video, I'm doing a real-time reaction to the desert at sunset. So let me turn around here, and you can see that it's just a sunset sky losing its color. Losing its color rapidly. I got Stanley with me. And let me sit this back down. I just want to react and share thoughts as they come up, because I see things, a lot of things. There's a lot of flying things here. And what's a cool thought is that there's flying things at every layer above the surface of the earth, from microscopically things moving above the surface of the earth. Technically, everything is moving above the surface of the earth, because even when you're walking on the surface of the earth, microscopically, your atoms in the earth's atoms are actually not, they're both never merging and never separated, which is a weird thing to think about. Like the idea of penetration at an atomic level is a really trippy thing to think about. But from the surface of the earth, there are flying critters, and as I sit here, I see them, from gnats and flies that are only inches to feet, a few feet above the surface, to the dragonflies that are zooming by almost constantly, to the hummingbirds, and to the other variety of birds that occupy another strata. And birds occupy from surface level to maybe a mile up? I don't know how high birds fly. I'm guessing maybe 5,000 feet, and 5,600 and blah, blah, 40 or 30 something is a mile. So maybe there's birds a mile up hitting jets. I know jets sometimes go down because birds get sucked into the engine. That's a scary thought, but I don't know if that's true at 30,000 feet or just, 10,000 feet. I know there actually are some birds that go higher than that. Anyway, and then above and beyond that, and as I sit here and I watch, I see, hawks circling, I see bats swooping. And by the way, the last 2 times I've used my table saw in my workshop, as I start a cut, a bat goes flying out from under it and out. So there's a bat coming in through the, where there's no bird blocking it, because I've been too lazy to do it, and roosting up under my table saw. So I'm going to have to start draping a blanket over it, a moving blanket, so he or she can't get in there. But yeah, there's bats. There's just, in out here, as I've discovered, here in southern Arizona at the Mexico border, there's an incredible variety of flying beetles, like scarab beetles, and just really bizarre things. And, even though most insects, like beetles, tend to fly more horizontally, how wasps and bees kind of curl up and fly a little more vertically, there's some beetles that get almost completely upright and fly sort of in a crucifix type of posture with flapping arms, but their body is almost completely vertical. It's really weird. Stanley's moving around and about to knock over my camera. Hold still, buddy. He's trying to tell me he's hungry and he's ready for dinner. But there are flying critters at every strata of the sky. And then above that, you know, there's meteors and satellites and space junk. And beyond that, you know, the moon. And it's just interesting to think that it never ends. And I suppose technically, you know, the thing that I could call the center is really kind of the center of the Earth or the center of the sun. If you look microscopically, there's critters in that spectrum that goes all the way down to subatomic and quantum levels. So it never ends in either direction. The amount of infinite when you apply it to our planet and in the scale of things, scale to big and scale to small, it's infinite. It's a really trippy concept. So I'm sitting here, and what am I reacting to? There's actually not many birds out right now. They're not visiting the bird bath, maybe because I'm talking too much. I can hear some chirps. I see some going by, but the dragonflies have actually mellowed out. I guess we're experiencing a shift. You know, the birds, the quantity and everything does tend to diminish. In Texas, it did in August, remarkably and markedly. And here, I think that applies a little bit too. The frequency of birds tends to drop in August, September, although the quail are definitely still around. Can you hear that clicking? Pretty sure that's quail. Oh, and here in this part of the desert, oftentimes in the air is a big white spy balloon, for lack of a better term, a border patrol surveillance balloon that looks like a giant white goldfish cracker. And it goes up and down. It's on a tether. It's on a cable. And they put it up. It kind of looks out and surveils the open desert in the mountain range beyond. And I suppose sometimes in this valley, because there's two valleys back to back, and migrants cross both. So Border Patrol is very interested in being high and looking down out across the borderlands. So it's not up tonight though, but I did see it to the naked eye against the ground yesterday, and usually for the last couple months it's been there pretty consistently. They reel it in and bring it down and anchor it when a storm's coming or severe weather or it's monsoon season, you know, and it's expected to get crazy because the tether could theoretically snap. I saw my first one, the exact same thing, but the first one out near Marfa, Texas, when I did a trip a couple years ago out to Big Bend State Park. And I thought it was a UFO. Legitimately, I thought I was having my first real UFO sighting experience when I saw it. Although once I started getting it took hours to get to it. I saw it from so far away, and the way it wasn't obeying the wind currents, yeah, I was convinced it was a UFO. I left a bunch of voice texts for a friend, like, what is it? What the fuck is it? It's got to be a UFO. Well, as I got closer, I realized it was tethered, and I researched it online, and it is a program that the U.S. Border Patrol runs and has for quite a while. There's several of them around the country, and it just so happens I moved to Bisbee, Sierra Vista area, where there happens to be one flown, you know, operated by the Fort Huachuca Army Base that's over there in Sierra Vista, in the town of Fort Huachuca. And I can see it here from my deck. So that's, you know, something cool. I get to sort of watch. It's like I'm watching the watchers watch the desert as I'm watching the desert. That's pretty cool, right? Anyway, it's a beautiful night. The lights of the houses in the distance, the ones that tend to reflect sunlight at me, are starting to light up. I'm seeing the occasional birds pass by. Every time it's sunset time, and I'm sitting here and I see a bird or two flying high and fast due south towards Mexico, I have a running joke. It's like a running dialogue with myself. I say, them are Mexican birds commuting home for the night. They chirp in Spanish. Get it? Because they're Mexican? Mexican birds chirp in Spanish. Anyway, it's a stupid dad joke, and I tell it to myself almost every night that I'm out here watching the sunset. I'm sharing that with you. Welcome to Ryan's World. Ryan's personal, private dad jokes is about Mexican birds flying home for the night. Yeah, it's really quiet except for me running my mouth. There's no cars driving by. My neighbor Patrick went by a few minutes ago in his old beat up blue pickup truck, which he doesn't normally do this time of night. Maybe it's a grocery store run. I always speculate why my neighbors are going wherever they're going. To medical appointments, to grocery store runs, mailbox runs. Who knows? But occasionally a car goes by and I'm like, and sometimes I'll, look at the time and go, I wonder where they're going. And then I start to speculate about it. I wonder if people do that to me and I wonder where Ryan's going. Maybe. But there's no traffic noise. Speaking of which, I was on a Zoom call with a coworker. I've brought this up in a previous video. He's in Tijuana, I think. Yeah. No. Doesn't matter where he is, but he's in a place that's noisy as shit. And it's this kind of small, tinny sounding car horn. But they lean, wherever he's at, they lean on the horn for 10 to 20 seconds at a time. Sounds like the heart of Mexico City, but I think he said he's in Tijuana. I hear every time we're on a Zoom call together, man, you hear these horns in the background. Sounds like he doesn't have air conditioning and the windows are always open. And I said to him today, after somebody leaned on a horn for like 10 seconds straight, it was a group call, but I said, whoever's got that horn, I knew it was him. I don't know how you deal with it. It would drive me apeshit. I think I said that on the call, even though I'm not supposed to cuss on a call. Maybe I said it would drive me nuts. Yeah, that's probably what I said. And I remember, I lived in cities my whole life. That was very common more often than not. But now where I'm living where it's quiet as, you know what? Whew. The sound of constant traffic and horns and sirens. I don't know how y'all city folk do it. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and enjoy the night, and you can enjoy some silence without me talking. Thanks for hanging out with me. Think about what's in the air, observe it more. I didn't go into my whole diatribe about all the strange things that I've seen in the sky just looking up and staring at it. I see satellites every night, shooting stars every night. I saw a deflated weather balloon, like just white stringy thing, just drifting and morphing through the air once. I'm pretty sure it was an exploded Chinese spy satellite or a weather balloon or spy balloon. Who knows? But it was interesting. And I see all kinds of things. Jets and planes at weird distances. There's so much in the sky. Go check it out for yourself. Leave a comment. Let me know what's the first thing you see in the sky next time you go check it out. All right, thanks. Bye. It's funny. As soon as I stopped that video, the UPS truck started bouncing by very close to me. He's directly beyond the camera, about 300 yards, heading to the north, doing deliveries in the rapidly encroaching darkness under a sliver of a moon. And by the way, that smoke down in Mexico that I mentioned coming up, it's getting faster. It's actually enough where I can sort of see distinct puffs of it, and I can actually see the motion, whereas before it was just this general haze that existed. It's moving slowly because it's like 30 miles away. It's way down south in Mexico, but I can see it very clearly that it's sort of belching. So that's interesting. Can you hear that UPS truck? They have a hard time on my country rocky roads. The roads are very bouncy and there's not very good suspension in a UPS truck. And they don't own the truck, so they go pretty fast and it's just shaking like a mofo. He does it almost every night, by the way. Even though I'm very rural, I'm blessed to have FedEx, UPS, and most delivery services to my house. The big rigs don't want to come down here because there's not good turnarounds that they can make. But almost all delivery services are willing to drive 4 and 5, 6 miles back into the rough country to make their deliveries. And I'm only about 1 mile, mile and a half from the main highway down dirt roads and lots of rocky, rutted, washboardy type roads, but they do it. So I'm very blessed. All right. Goodbye again.